So something just arrived in the mail. I'm very, very excited about it. It's this huge, humongous thing here. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's a Klein bottle. It's a humongous Klein bottle. Cost me a couple of $1,000s. Definitely worth it. As you can see, I'm pretty nuts about these things. I've got like a pretty huge collection of Klein bottles. I just put a couple here on the table, as many as could fit in this frame basically here. And so I want to talk a little bit about Klein bottles, why I'm nuts about them. But also we want to do something, do something related to what we've been doing before. So I've put Rubik's cubes in bottles, right? And today, the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Rubik's cubes in Klein bottles. That's going to be something. All right. So I think before we start talking about these various bottles, I better give you some explanation of what it's all about mathematically. So let me tell you a little bit about what makes these things interesting, Klein bottle interesting. Mathematicians are really nuts about them. So what we do is to build one, we just take a sheet of paper, well, not paper, just some flexible material, and do this, okay? So we bring the red edges together, make them into a tube, and then we connect up the yellow circles in a special way, okay? If you just bring them together like this, we get like a donut shape, but we can do this in a second way, and that gives the Klein bottle. So let's just have a look. So we extend out like this, and then extend, and together comes the Klein bottle, okay? All right, so that's one way of building it. The other way actually focuses on the yellow edges first. Okay, so let's just go straight to that. So what I'll do here is I'll take a rectangle that's a bit thinner to start with, okay? And then the way the yellow edges are brought together is, well, there's two different ways. So you could just do like this, and you get a nice ring. Or you could give it a twist and bring it together like this. And that's, of course, something that pretty much everybody who watches this, I guess, knows. This is a Möbius strip, right? And what's special about a Möbius strip? Well, I mean, you start out with two sides. So you start out with two sides, right? And when you connect like this, white gets connected to white and yellow gets connected to yellow, and you get two sides again. But when you kind of switch over like that, you actually connect the two sides. So you connect the white side to the yellow side to the white side, and actually now what you get here is a one-sided surface, okay? So if you take like two different points, like one point here, and like on the opposite side, you can actually travel from here to there by walking along the surface, okay? So just by walking along the surface. So that's something very special, a one-sided surface, Okay, now the Klein bottle is actually just a Möbius strip kind of extended in such a way that eventually the two edges come together and merge together, okay? So let's just have a look at how that works. So first we connect this up into a Möbius strip in a special way, right? So what we have to do is we have to connect the yellow point to the green point and the green point to the yellow point. And we do this in a special way here. So the twist is kind of hidden a little bit. Okay, so it goes like that, just extend it out, bring it around, and now you can see if I just extend this out, those 2 points are going to get merged. Those 2 points are going to get merged, and you get a Möbius strip, okay? And now let's just go into our real starting position, which is basically this. So there's your Möbius strip, okay? And now we kind of extend things out, right? So we extend things out, we extend further, we extend further, we extend further. And if you just extend a little bit further, it's all going to come together and you're going to get your Klein bottle. What's nice about the Klein bottle is that it doesn't have any edges whatsoever. It's like a sphere, basically. It's like a sphere. It doesn't have any edges. It's a closed surface as opposed to one with an edge, the Möbius strip. So that makes it somewhat special, okay? Okay, now Klein bottles, they actually don't live in our world. They really live in 4 dimensions. And they're really, I mean, these sorts of guys, they really feel uncomfortable here. They're really kind of crammed into 3 dimensions. And you can see it here, they kind of clash into it themselves. They don't want to do this. They want to be like donut shapes. Donut shapes, they don't clash into themselves. They want to be like that. And in 4 dimensions, they can be like this. I just want to show you how you actually get the 4th dimension in here. So if you've got a figure 8 like living in a plane, right? Now, there's got a clash here. if you want to get rid of this clash, what you do is you kind of just take a little bit of this figure 8 here and kind of raise it slowly up into the third dimension and bring it back in, like so. So you've kind of built a bridge, and all of a sudden the whole thing doesn't clash into itself. You can do the same sort of thing here with the Klein bottle. So what you do is, at this stage here, you kind of push things off slowly into the fourth dimension, and you kind of just go across, like in the fourth dimension, kind of building a bridge in the fourth dimension, and then, well, from our perspective, it just seems to vanish here, right? From the perspective of somebody who lives in here, the curve just seems to vanish, and then to reappear, but it's still there. It's still there in three-dimensional space. Same sort of thing is possible here for a Klein bottle. So here it just kind of starts vanishing, but it's actually still there in the fourth dimension, goes across, and you don't get this running into itself. So this is really a four-dimensional creature, and it's a one-sided surface. And there's a couple of other things that are really amazing about it. So one of them, which not just mathematicians find amazing, but just about anybody finds amazing, is that they provide a hint that the universe we live in might actually have a very strange property. And I just want to show you this by looking at a Möbius strip real quick. So here's a really, really big Möbius strip, okay? And let's just say there's like a creature living in here. So there's like our two-dimensional man lives in here. And that Möbius strip, that doesn't have any third dimension. It's just, it's there, but it doesn't have any third dimension. So what we can do with this man here is we can let him travel around the Möbius strip. Okay, so let's just let him travel around the Möbius strip. There he travels. And now he kind of just turns on the spot. And now something amazing has happened. But just walking around the Möbius strip, this man has actually turned into his mirror image. So something similar is theoretically possible in our universe, that we kind of go off for a trip through the universe, we come back, and we come back mirror reversed. It could theoretically happen, and it could happen in a kind of a three-dimensional counterpart of the Klein bottle. So that's what makes Klein bottles interesting for mathematicians, and also, I hope for everybody who watches here. It gives you basically a space, a flat analog of the three-dimensional universe we live in that has this special property that if you kind of just walk around in the right way, you kind of turn into your mirror image, and you won't feel it. You won't feel it. You'll feel perfectly fine all the way throughout the trip. But a comeback is strange. So let's get serious about putting some Rubik's Cube in Klein bottles, and talking just in general a little bit about my collection here. So what have I got here? I've got different sizes. So this is kind of just a straightforward shape, basically 4 different sizes here. Well, really 5. I've got also these really, really small ones here. So there's another one. So 5 different sizes. You can use them for earrings or pendants or whatever. Now they're all made from glass by real glass blowers. And pretty much all of these come from a place in California. Where I'm going to put a link somewhere here. So they're all coming from California. I've got one here. This one came from the UK. So they actually attached something here so they can use the Klein bottle as a drinking vessel. Then I've got something very strange here. 3 Klein bottles kind of merged together like this. Very strange. Then I've got a Klein bottle opener. So you can actually open beer bottles like this. That's actually 3D printed, and it's in metal. And there's another 3D printed version just from plastic. And this is something that I use on a daily basis. So this is my Klein bottle mug. So if you actually have a really, really close look, this is actually a real mug. And you can see that the water is kind of sitting in here in a strange way. And that's basically, that hollow space here somehow. Get some water in every once in a while. Okay, now how do we get a Rubik's Cube in a Klein bottle? Okay, so we want to get maybe this one here into this Klein bottle. I mean, from the movie, you maybe remember, well, this thing actually only has one side, right? So it actually doesn't have an inside and an outside, mathematically speaking. So pretty much you could just say, well, it's in. Okay, but nobody will be impressed. Also, it's not really true. It's not really true because, well, we're talking about a Klein bottle kind of squeezed into our 3D space. It would be true if we're kind of, you know, doing this video in 4 dimensions. Then, I mean, there would really be no point to do anything with this thing, you know, just be inside, whichever way you look at it, right? But because it's kind of squeezed into 3 dimensions, you can actually see, well, there is really an inside here somehow, right? There's really an inside. So how do we get it into the space inside? Well, it looks hard, and actually it would be completely impossible were it not for a strange flaw, or let's be kind and call it feature of all these glass Klein bottles, okay? So when you look at them, I mean, you remember, so there's basically a tube kind of going through to the inside here, and then there's a surface kind of cutting across here, right? So, I mean, here we've got this kind of circular intersection, so a circular intersection, and really what should be there is 2 surfaces intersecting, right? So this surface and that surface here, they should be intersecting, and actually that hole should be closed, but it isn't. You can actually get in through the tunnel here and move things to the inside. It's a flaw. I guess it's just very hard for a glass blower to get any sheet of glass in here. So that's actually the case for all of these handmade glass bottles. And strangely enough, it's also the case for this plastic one. I mean, for this plastic one, there's actually no excuse for not putting in the thing. But I guess whoever made this, he just looked at the glass Klein bottle and copied it and didn't realize that he was actually making a mistake there. Now, the person who made this one here, a very famous 3D printing artist, Bathsheba Grossman, she got it right. So if you actually look in the hole here, so there's the surface cutting across. So among all those things that I have here, this is really the only one that's, you know, perfect, right? In that sense. But I mean, we're not really worried about this. We're actually pretty happy about this because at least there's a way in, you know? So otherwise, yeah, there's no hope. Okay, so how do we get something in? Well, with this large one, it's actually pretty easy, right? So I can just kind of take it like this, and I get a small cube, maybe my favorite cube, the 1 times 1 times 1, and I just kind of toss it in, all right, and it's in. Well, okay, nobody will be impressed. Well, I think you'll still be impressed by just me holding this thing. So anyway, so you can get a cube in like this, but of course you want a real 3 by 3 by 3. Okay, well, there's still a really, really tricky way of doing it because I've got this really, really small 3 by 3 by 3. So that's actually, you know, that's actually the smallest mass-produced 3 by 3 by 3 cube. That's just as big as one of the little cubes that make up an ordinary one. And you can really, you know, twist the sides of this thing and can scramble it up and you can solve it and do all sorts of things. It's called a nanocube. So this one, let's put it in, probably a world first. There, a 3 by 3 by 3 in a Klein bottle, just like that, right? Just like that. Okay, but again, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, you've never seen this before, and I'm sure it's going to be very memorable. You'll never forget this image of me throwing this thing in. But still, you know, it's too easy, right? I mean, I could have done it. I mean, this one here, you're only really impressed because I got this thing in that doesn't really fit through the hole, right? So we have to somehow get this, a cube like this, into one of those Klein bottles. Now, I'm not going to use this one here because, I mean, if you've actually watched the video where I put this one in, you know it's dangerous. Sometimes I destroy these things in the process, right? So I'm not going to use the several $1,000 sample here, of which only like 2 exist in the whole wide world. So I'm going to use one of the other ones, right? So I've got quite a few of the other ones. And so what I thought I'd try is, I'm going to try and put something into this one here. Okay, so this one here, and well, I mean, this 3 by 3 by 3 definitely doesn't fit in, right? So can't fit that one inside. An even larger one would be this 2 by 2 by 2, right? So that would, I think, just fit inside. And well, I guess we could do another world first since I'm here. We could put a Klein bottle inside a Klein bottle. Since we've got it here, we might as well do it. I've got this little Klein bottle here. Okay, so we're going to put a Klein bottle inside a Klein bottle. There it is, never seen before, world first. All right, okay, let's just leave this in there. I think I might just leave this in there permanently. And now I'm going to go away, and then and then I'm going to see what I can get this thing inside. Okay. All right, I'm back. I'm wearing my Klein bottle hat, which you can get also from the place where you get these glass Klein bottles from. So it's a very, very neat hat. So if you go inside and you pull, you can actually see the tube kind of sliding inside. So very nice. Anyway, so I succeeded. As you can see, the Rubik's Cube is in, right? The Rubik's Cube is in the Klein bottle. And let me just show you a little bit. So here it is, right? I just kind of move it around a little bit here. Well, okay, anyway, that's as far as we'll go. It's actually pretty tight fit this way. So, you know, great stuff.